Today, we are discussing Palestinian resistance. What is Palestinian resistance? Many Muslims refer to the armed struggle by Palestinians against Israel as resistance, while security and counter-terrorism experts describe it as terrorism. This raises an important question: what is the difference between resistance and terrorism? Can someone on social media simply call it a resistance? Or can anyone wake up one morning and label it terrorism? Obviously not. These terms cannot be defined by personal opinion alone. Internationally recognized definitions of resistance and terrorism are applied and used worldwide. So let me allow to discuss the difference between resistance and terrorism. Now listen up very carefully, because I'm going to make these definitions very simple for you to understand. For example, legitimate resistance is an armed struggle by national liberation movements against occupation forces or governments in pursuit of independence. However, terrorism uses unlawful methods and organized violence against civilians or unarmed people to achieve an organization's political ends. These distinct definitions show a clear distinction between resistance and terrorism and between liberation movements and terrorist groups. In simple terms, liberation movements target military personnel, military facilities, security installations, and government infrastructure, while terrorist organizations deliberately attack civilians or unarmed people, even when those civilians belong to occupied states. Terrorist groups also attack civilian infrastructure, including home, public places, marketplaces, transport systems, private buildings, hotels, and places of worship. One must understand that terrorism cannot simply be called resistance, nor can resistance be called terrorism. The difference must be understood through established international definitions. Now, let me examine historical Palestinian resistance, which I argue constitute a form of terrorism, because Israeli civilians have always been targeted since Yasser Arafat became the chairman of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, commonly known as the PLO, in 1969, and by other groups like Palestinian Liberation Front, PLF. Although these groups also attacked military installations and state infrastructure, their attacks on civilians cannot be ignored. Let me tell you one important thing here. The PLO was created not by Yasser Arafat, but by the Arab League in Egypt 1964. Anyhow, let me mention a few examples of their terrorist activities here. Number one, Avivim school bus attacks on 22nd May 1970 killed 16 children, 12 civilians, including 12 children. Lod Airport massacre on 30th May 1970 killed 24 civilians, including 60 religious pilgrims. Munich Olympic massacre on 6 September 1972 killed 11 Israeli athletes. Kiryat Shimon massacre on 11th April 1974 killed 18 civilians. Zion Square bombings, Jerusalem on 5th July 1975 killed 14, wounded 18. Coastal Road massacre on 11th May 1978 killed 38 civilians, including 13 children, and wounded 71. The list continues even after the PLO was disbanded and the Palestinian Authority was established under the Oslo Accords between 1992 and 1994. Terrorist activities did not stop. Instead, they continued to be described as Palestinian resistance, a term widely accepted across the Islamic world because the victims were Israeli Jewish civilians. Terrorism remains terrorism, regardless of the label used, and it cannot be justified under any name or term.